Queens Make a Pair podcast. I'm Max.
I'm Sam. And this is Savvy.
We have one of our fur pugs with us today. She's here to help us talk about love languages.
Which is ironic because she does not love me. The dog, not Mackie.
I would say she has a love-hate relationship with you.
Where she loves to hate me.
No, she loves Sam when I'm not around.
I will say that time that we were talking about suicide and the sadness and my mom, she was up here like loving me. I don't know if you could really see it in the video, but like she would not leave my side.
She was comforting you for sure.
Which is so, she
never does that.
Does not care if I cry.
She really doesn't do that to me either. That was a different side of
you don't cry.
Savvy. True.
The other side.
But she's a good pup. So she's here to help us bring the love language message to you guys today. And I love to talk about love languages because, one, they're a little silly, but also the power that they can bring into a relationship is pretty incredible.
It's also, it's simplicity, and it's not, so Gary Chapman, I think, is the one that wrote,
I think so.
Thanks.
The 5 love languages?
Yeah. Sorry, Gary. So there's also one that is geared toward singles. And that's actually the one that I read and really like got the most out of because, first of all, in the Christian culture that we grew up in, and maybe not as much you, because you were Methodist. You are a Methodist.
Ouch.
But in the Christian culture that I grew up in.
Maybe not you.
Maybe not you. You had healthy Methodism given to you. So it was true love waits, and it doesn't matter how long you have to wait. God will bring your husband to you, and it will be worth it.
LOL.
And LOL. But I clearly was not finding a husband in my early 20s, and all these relationships felt bad. There was a couple of guys that I did that were very kind and wonderful, and I wasn't in a place to be loved, and I didn't know how to actually love people. And so I was at Williams Baptist, where I thought I was going to meet like a nice Christian man if I was going to meet somebody. And I dated 2 guys. One guy was like, I don't want to be with you if we're not going to have sex. And I was like, well, this is very strange mixed signals, since you're going to be, like, you're studying to be a pastor, and I am just very confused about all of this. And then I dated another guy, and he was like, I think I'm going to have a husband someday. And I was like, well, this is very odd. I am not a husband, so clearly we broke up. But so
she got a wife.
So later on, I one-upped and I got a wife.
And I will say that the love languages we think of predominantly for romantic relationships, but they certainly can be used for platonic.
Yes. So the singles edition is like, just so you know, like, a single isn't a person who was never married, and a single is a widow. A single is a divorced person. Because we always think of like, well, if you've had a relationship in the past, that you don't like understand being single anymore. So that was a good, okay, everybody is single at some point in their life, so they understand, they should understand like a different season. And also it said, every relationship, every person you encounter, why would we not want to love our friends in a way that they want to be loved? And so that specific edition is the one that I didn't want to throw in the fire because I was reading all these like self-help and love and sustain yourself on God's love, which is totally possible and true, but it was this weird push of the Christian culture that was purity for women, not been preaching purity to men, and then a lot of confusion.
So I guess we should also start with what the 5 love languages are. And then let's break down what those are.
Yeah, like on a practical level.
Yeah, what that looks like.
And then what ours are.
Yes, and I'm sure that, well, we'll get into that.
Time pause. So you can sort of just guess what your love language is. You don't have to read any book. Just specifically, I'm sure this was a thing, but Gary Chapman just put it in a book. He's the one that did this little research and like gave it names. But you can go to lovelanguages.com. There's a little quiz.
There's a lot of quizzes. Yeah.
So you can like go find your quiz.
People generally are able to just hear
once you hear it, you can see. And there's also how you receive love. And that's like how you feel the most loved, and then how you give love. And sometimes those two things are not the same, but it does make a difference on how you interact with any relationship.
Yeah. So the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, and we'll just talk about them as we go. So words of affirmation was my heavy hit love language for a long time. Like that was the one that I needed people to tell me I was doing a good job. If you watched our last episode talking about boundaries, like it was hard for me to put down my own emotional walls because I was so focused on I need people to tell me that I'm doing good and I'm succeeding and I'm winning, winning at life. And so words of affirmation are these powerful words that we hear and that we speak that really bring this positive emotion of, oh yes, I am doing a good job. I am proud of you. What other words?
You're beautiful.
Yeah.
Maggie doesn't think about she thinks about how she looks, but that's not something she ever needs words of affirmation on because she's so confident in herself. She's like, this is how I look, and it is.
Yeah.
Which is really wild and a little foreign to me in a lot of ways. So, how someone looks, how someone, you
did a great job on that assignment. You did a great job at that task. You did a phenomenal job at the yard work. Like you did a great job at whatever it may be.
Yeah, I appreciate you. That's a big one that I think kind of goes underrated. Like I really appreciate that you've been doing all of this work, and whether or not someone's love language is words of affirmation, I almost said words of service. It's always good to tell someone you love them, to tell someone that they're doing a good job.
So definitely teenage Maggie into early adulthood Maggie, words of affirmation were important. And not only I really wanted like the closest people to me to tell me I was doing good.
Yeah.
That I was doing good things. And I think that some of that is generational, like words of affirmation, millennials you'll find it's kind of a higher one on the list. Which is
funny because that was like not high on my list for a long time.
Are you a millennial?
Yes.
Boomer. Anyway, we'll talk about generations another day. But I would definitely, we'll talk a lot about the mesh of love languages later on, but how my love language, I would say, is not words of affirmation. Like, I still want to be told I'm doing a good job, but what fills my love bank most is quality time. And so that's another love language.
Number 2, quality time.
And that's just as simple as existing in the same room with someone.
Yes. And so I'm a talker, and Maggie is not always a talker. And so sometimes our quality time looks like me brain dumping. I write poetry. I'm working on some different competitions. I'm doing just a whole lot of different things. And so I'm always like, Maggie, da, 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 and she just sits, but we're in the same room. And that is the quality time.
You also don't have to be doing anything extraordinary. I mean, like, you can be doing something as simple as one of my favorite times of the day is when we have our little sleepovers at night. We're laying in bed and we're just facing each other and we're talking about the day. We're talking about the world. We're talking about the good things that happened today. Sam will always ask, what's something good that's happened today? And that can spark some conversation for us. But it's spending time together, and she'll always call it a little slumbie.
It's our little slumbie. I married my best friend. Like, of course it's a slumbie. And so sometimes it's reading in the same room quietly when I have to be quiet.
Yeah. And then sometimes it is trips. Sometimes it is concerts.
And we truly
Broadway shows.
We love spending all the time together. I don't ever get tired of spending time with you. And that's not just for like the camera. Like, I love spending time with you. So the quality time is huge. When we first started dating, I worked night shift and she worked day shift, obviously.
Normal.
She works 8 to 5. And so we would, she would come to the hospital and I would have like 20 minutes before I would have to pick the kids up and like take them to school. They were with their dads. And she would bring coffee and we would literally sit for like 15 minutes. Sometimes not even talking. And sometimes like we would just hold hands and we would drink our coffee. And like, I was so freaking exhausted, but like I was not going to miss these 15 minutes.
Yeah,
with each other.
Before you would go into work, sometimes you would come by the house.
Yeah, if I had an extra 20 minutes. Yeah,
sometimes eat dinner, or I would have your dinner to go. Sort of thing.
Yeah, she'd like bag it up. So,
and that's funny that you bring that up because I think that's where quality. I mean, I've always enjoyed spending time with people, and
I thought you were gonna say with me specifically.
No, for sure with you, but like I've always enjoyed spending time with my friends and with my family. My family was big on quality time. Like we did everything together. Like we would have family dinners.
Yeah.
My dad and Susie, like I remember when I had first moved back, we would have family dinner every like Wednesday night. And that was really cool and that really helped, I think, the three of us in our relationship develop into, okay, what does a relationship look like as an adult
with your parents?
And so I think that quality time's always been there, but again, working through some of my own shit, I've learned that quality time is my love language and what I really love. And so I love spending time with you. But I think it took you coming in, knocking down walls, you breaking some of those barriers. Also us almost like having to be forced to use our intentional time together. And so that helped
navigating like young kids and what that looks like with like sharing them like with their dad and how we had to like piece our time together. I think was really like, I don't know how we would have. Well, we did it.
Somehow.
We did it.
It's a little bit of a blur.
So that goes into number 3, though. Acts of service. Because you said you would pack my dinners for me.
I know that Sam's love language is acts of service.
Man, I love when a task gets done. I love it. Like, I'm going to use the example that I've never found her so attractive. So there was this table. Maggie wanted a coffee station and she wanted a table and she found one, which is really cute. And it has like this tray on top. So there's like a boundary, a border around. And I was like, this is perfect, but it's so frustrating because our coffee situation, everything has to turn sideways, like at an angle.
Didn't look cute. It wasn't aesthetically pleasing.
Some things has to be aesthetic for me. And so I was like, I don't even want to make coffee because I'm so frustrated that everything's at an angle. And I hear like hammering. And I come into the kitchen and she has taken off one of the walls. Just a little tray. I mean, literally it was on with like the smallest nails.
It was not
and
hard.
I was like, oh, she fixed the table. And I already love her, obviously, and we were already married, but I would have proposed. Like, I would have been like, oh, so you want to get married for the rest of our lives? Because, back to the childhood, people always told me a lot of things, but it always felt like things were lie. So it was very hard to believe someone's words when their actions were different than their words.
Yeah. And that's fascinating because, like, I grew up where my parents did everything for me. Like, anything and everything that I needed. My grandparents did everything for me.
And what's crazy is my parents and grandparents, they showed up. They showed out. They made sure that I could always do whatever, but it was just a weird dynamic of those things. And so, like, I can't say, like, they were bad or all good. There just wasn't. And so, but yeah, so, like, people...
but also in your marriage, your first marriage, you didn't have a lot of
things
acts
were
of service.
Said, yes, I'll do this, and then the service was not done. Do the dishes. So, but what's funny is I saw my dad do acts of service all the time, and my mom's, I don't know what her love language was. That's because she never healed. So for her...
Oh, yeah, that's good.
I just thought of that. So for her, my mom couldn't tell you what an act of her language of love was.
Yeah.
Now, I knew when she felt love from me specifically because and maybe this is why I'm so, like, intentional about wanting everybody to be having stuff. So, like, my mom, I bought her this Tiffany's necklace. And if you've ever bought anything from Tiffany's, there's this iconic, it's blue with the white bow. So I worked like 100 jobs, and like at the same time. So I worked 3 jobs at the same time. I was making mad cash. And I was like, I'm going to get my mom something really, really nice because she deserves nice things. And so it was this Tiffany's box. It's just a little necklace, a little circle, a little chain. So it came in 2 separate boxes because God forbid Tiffany should put one necklace on a chain. It's gotta be a whole deal. So my mom, though,
shout out to
Tiffany's. My dad had bought my mom a million jewelries, and she was never appreciative of the jewelry that my dad bought her because she wasn't healed. All the things. The love that my dad gave to her when he tried in different ways, she didn't feel loved because she was not loving herself. She didn't know what her love language was.
Yes. Loving yourself first.
So
practicing your own love language.
When she opened the necklace from me, though, she never took that off. And she was so proud of it. And so, like, when I would give gifts, like, I want someone to be like, I want people to cry when I give them a gift. Like that, I'm like, this is good. I did a really good job. I really got you in your feels. And so when I was growing up, learning what I needed, there was always this mix, the hindsight. So acts of service, when somebody like gets something done for me, because I've had to be so strong, independent, all these things, I know I'm beautiful. Also, on the other end of that, like, you can't tell me something negative about my body or my appearance because I've already thought it. I know I'm smart, but I am my own worst enemy on these things. So words of affirmation are not going to cut it for me because I need to see a tangible result. And for you, words mean what they are, which is also like when I was healing from my last marriage and learning how to love you, sometimes you would say something and I would be like, whoa, why are we mad? You know, like, so when you would text, okay, and that was all it was. It was okay. But in my life, okay without an explanation, or like that was passive aggressive and it wasn't a real. So I grew up where words didn't hold the meaning that they said.
Yeah.
So that's something that we teach the kids is like, no, I mean what I say. If I tell you this time is we're going to do this and then we're going to take this away, we are really good at following through with that. And so that teaches our kids. We always joke that our daughter, you know, somebody someday is going to be like, you're really beautiful. And she's going to say, I know.
And
you're really smart. I know. And not being like sassy, but being like, I already know this about myself because I've been told these things with follow through from my parents with the acts of service my whole life. Yeah. So that you can't tell me anything that I don't already know.
And expect that this person's going to do these things for me.
Yes. And I have to be very like Valentine's party. I wanted to go to both parties at school, but I couldn't because the time restraint was weird and they only had like little 30 minutes. So I sat my daughter down. She really expects me to be there. And I said, I'm going to give you a heads up. I will not be at your school today. I will not come to your party. I said, is this okay? And you can tell me if it's not, and if that hurts your feelings, then we can talk about something else. And she was like, no, that's okay, because she knows when I say I'm going to show up, I'm going to show up.
Right.
And so I think that that is also why when words of affirmation come in, there's got to be the follow-up of that.
Yeah.
And meaning what you say. I didn't mean to get on that little tangent.
Well, but also I think that's a good point of bringing in, even teaching them boundaries at such an early age of like,
right.
You know, I'm communicating, I'm setting this expectation of what the boundary is. And I know we talked about that in the last episode, but
everything carries
it all intertwines. And so I think that boundaries go hand in hand with setting, you know, are these expectations of what our love languages love language are.
Well, like when we started to like live together, because you had never lived with anybody, like for real.
And so, we were together 2 years before we lived together.
Right.
Like
so
it was, we knew each other very well.
Yes.
You know?
And so, but even then we sat down and she was like, what are we doing? And I was like, a really important talk. And I was like, who takes out the trash?
Yeah.
Who does the dishes? And what is your least favorite chore? Because whatever is your least favorite, I'm very hopeful it's not the same as mine. But my love language is doing also acts of service. So luckily hers least favorite is the laundry.
I hate the
laundry. That's like one of my most favorite. And so we just kind of have this, it's not unspoken, it was really spoken. Like we sat down and almost like wrote everything out. Who takes out the trash? Who does this?
Yeah. And I like
when those expectations aren't set, then I can't be upset if no one took the trash out, if I thought you were going to do it and you thought I was going to do it.
Yes. That communication aspect of it. And I love thinking in terms of an equitable perspective with acts of service, because acts of service isn't always I'm going to do this big thing. I'm going to take you to this show. I'm going to take you to this concert sort of thing. You know, it's like sometimes it's the practical. I'm going to wash the dishes. I'm going to take out
Maggie
the trash.
Maggie makes my lunch for me for work almost every single day.
I enjoy doing those things.
Yeah. Which is funny because my mom used to make my lunch for me, like all through high school. Nice. And she was always like, no one's going to make your lunch for you.
Jokes on her. But I love the equitable perspective of it, because what equity says is that sometimes this person does this, sometimes this person does that, but that's always interchangeable.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's not this or certainly not a traditional male-female household. But, you know, an equitable perspective doesn't say, okay, the woman always does the dishes while the man always takes out the trash, or the woman always vacuums, does the laundry while the man does the yard work. It can be that intertwined.
And what's crazy is my parents actually were very role reversed. So my mom, she loved like mowing the yard. So now my dad did a lot of yard work, but like most of my mom's like household chores were outside of the household. My mom was sort of the breadwinner, like she made more money, and my dad, he worked like swing shift, and so he was there during the daytime, so he would make dinner and have it ready for us. And like my mom was the one that came home at like 5. And so the role reversal, watching them, so I think set my expectations differently. My mom, she was a diesel mechanic in the Navy, and so like she could fix the car. Now my dad, both of them actually were mechanical. And so like I was always just like, everyone should fix the car. Everyone should have a solution to a problem. And so that is one thing that I think they did a really good job of, was the traditional roles being really reversed and showing me and my sister that And my dad was always like, you have to know how to fix your own car because you can't trust someone else to do it, which came from my dad was orphaned when he was 17. So like it came from a series of like, you can't trust anyone's going to be there because sometimes there just may not be somebody. And so not necessarily it was like strong, independent, don't need no man, but it was, you have to be able to take care of yourself because one day like your mom and your dad aren't going to be there. And that was where my dad was always coming from because his mom and dad weren't there. So.
And I think that we do a really good job of, I don't always do the dishes.
Right.
I don't always take out the trash. Sam always does the laundry.
I do always do the laundry.
But we do a good job of when our buckets are empty in certain areas, we pick each other up. And
sometimes physically.
There's a really cool visual to show equity versus equality. And equality is when 3 kids are watching a baseball game and the tallest kid has a box to stand on so he can see clear over the fence. The second tallest kid can see over the fence pretty well because he's got a box. But the shortest kid can't see over the fence because he only has one box.
And all the boxes are the same.
All the boxes are the same.
So when we give
same box, same height, all that. Whereas equity says we're going to give people what they need when they need it. And so the tall person can still see over the fence without any boxes.
Right.
The second tallest person can see over the fence with just one box. And then the shortest person can now see over the fence with his 2 boxes that he needs.
Right.
And so I love thinking...
And it doesn't take anything away from the
someone
person
else, yes,
who didn't need extra device or didn't need extra whatever. It doesn't take anything away from them for everyone to sit at the table.
And so I love acts of service from that equitable perspective because it's not always going to look the same and we're not always going to be equal at what we do.
My brain is instantly when you had shoulder surgery. And Maggie, truly, there's a couple of reasons for this. One, Maggie lived by herself forever, and so she just likes the house. Yeah, she had to do everything. She likes the house a certain way. When I lived by myself, I didn't have to do anything because I lived in a camper. And then, when I lived by myself with my kids, that was a different world. And so, it's like I didn't really ever live in a place. I wasn't home a lot for home things. I was like, if it's messy, it's messy. And so Maggie is just she loves to do it. She loves when she gets to do that. Also, I'm highly allergic to a lot of cleaning chemicals. And so that's a big reason that Maggie does a lot of the chemical cleaning. So, but thinking about when you had your surgery, talking about equity, obviously I did not expect you to get up and do the dishes or take the trash out. And just kind of your day-to-day, the little chores that you do. I didn't expect that my lunch was going to be made or that the kids' lunch was going to be made because she does that too. And so taking on sometimes, we talked about 110% is not always possible. Sometimes it's 10 and 90, the back and forth. And so I think that really goes into the next love language. And my brain just went away on what it was. We talked about quality time. Gifts. Well, that touch. Oh, well, gifts and touch. Yeah. Okay. Well, so that doesn't really go into the next one. I'm a liar. I was going back thinking of quality time, I think. But so the equitable part of that, also when you're in a relationship with someone, and especially long term, whether you decide to get married or not, on a real level, you're gonna have life happen. And so if you get into a relationship with someone and you don't think you could give them a bath at some point, that's how do you plan for that? Because some people are not made to be caregivers, and that's okay. But so how do we prepare for that? When we sat down and said, who takes the trash out? Who does the caregiving? Who does the do I need to call someone else when life happens?
Yeah.
And it's okay. Those are okay too.
And I think it's fair to ask the question now, and especially because we've had loss in our families and we've had illness and sickness in our families, and it's fair to ask the question, who's going to wipe your butt? Like, who's like,
Yeah.
are you going to be with someone where you can do those things? The vows of
Or
for better, for worse are
Yeah.
so important.
And is the person that you are with someone who's going to do that for you? Because we think about love as a lot of different things, and it's how good someone makes us feel typically. But if you are with someone who is not willing to do those things for you, and you are willing to do them for them, then that's a conversation that needs to be had. Like,
Yeah.
and I say that because we literally had not a situation. Maggie had her shoulder surgery, and she couldn't lift her arm. She could not do anything for several weeks, and so I had to dress her. I had to bathe her first shower. She was able to. We got some. She didn't like that. She's very independent, but the first shower that she had after surgery, like I had to get in the shower and like shower her. And that's just like things that you have to do sometime. I had to, like, when she would squat to go to the bathroom, I had to like lift her back up. Now I'm a nurse, and so those things are like really natural to me. And if that was just not something that I was comfortable with.
But I am not a nurse, and I remember you being in the hospital for your lung surgery, and I was feeding her.
Yeah, you know, because I couldn't really bend my arm. And so, yeah, you were feeding me, and like those acts of service and quality time. Sometimes quality time is in a really weird place.
And sometimes the acts of the service act is a really weird thing.
It's a weird thing. Eating,
but
soup. I think I was trying to eat soup, and I was like, why didn't they just give me a sandwich?
I think that it's an important conversation to have. Are we going to do these hard acts of service?
Yeah.
Are we going to do these hard things that is not the traditional magical feeling of love? You know,
Yeah.
I will say that when after my shoulder surgery and after especially the first 2 weeks, because the first 2 weeks were hell, I love my wife and I love everything that you've done for me, but it was this moment of, oh no, like I love her even more now. I didn't think that I could love her even anymore, but it was that moment of she has been through hell and back with me. And in a way, you know, it's setting the boundary of not taking on my pain sort of situation, you know, and feeling what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But also you were alongside me. You were right there and helping me literally stand up.
Yeah. And in that, I would do that for my closest friends. Like I would do that for my friends because that's how I love people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked about, you know, love languages isn't just, it's not just for romantic, it is for platonic as well.
Yeah.
And it's how you and your mom have a conversation, like finding your love language, healing yourself, knowing yourself, and then being able to love people. Like I have some friends who they could not care less, and I love giving words of affirmation, but I remember like giving words of affirmation to one of my guy friends, and I was like, you're doing like a really great job, like I'm just really proud of you. And he was like, this means nothing. And he was sort of he was not joking, because it didn't mean anything to him. And then I tried to be kind and send pizza because someone had stolen his wallet. So I sent him pizza, and he was like guilty. So like acts of service was like not it for him. And I was like, tell me how to love you, friend. So finding out sometimes that people don't know how to accept love, acts of love
happens,
is a little funny. And I am because I'm going to push boundaries in a pleasant, positive way, not a bad way usually. I'm going to push people and be persistent and be like, okay, but how can I love you? How can I make this situation better?
And I'm a lot like that too. I think it's a little bit different now, but when people do things for me, it's almost like, oh, they didn't think that I could do that myself, you know?
And
like,
that's really, yeah.
And so it's like this guilt and this almost frustration of, well, I could have done that. Instead of just being like, thank you, I needed that pizza, or I needed that. Well, I needed you to wash the dishes.
When we first moved in together, and my work schedule is it wasn't night shift, but it was still crazy. And like I came home and the kids had showers and the kids had dinner and the kids had homework. And I was like, what am I going to do? Because I'm their mom. And I was so used to doing everything on my own that I felt so much guilt. And I was like, I'm not even being a mom right now. And she was like, I am literally being your partner and I am making your life easier. Also, it was making her life easier because why would we want to like do the whole nighttime routine at
well, and then we got to spend time together.
and then,
like
I got to spend time with the kids and I got to spend time with Maggie and like
and
I wasn't in hyper like vigilant mode, I guess.
And I always like to tell people too that especially the first year of you guys being here, I feel like that
like, who's you guys? Me and the kids.
Because we just hit a year mark in January.
Yeah.
And I always tell people that like your time at work and my time with the kids has been really cool because it's been us developing relationship. And so I've learned their love languages in a way.
Yeah.
And so I think that you feeling like that sense of guilt and I know that you felt that, but also it was not coming from a place of
right.
Oh, I'm going to do this so she doesn't have to. It was, oh no, I want to do this because it's me now figuring out how to have a different relationship with the kids now that we all live together.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned like the kids. So, okay, here we go. The actual next one. Gifts.
Receiving gifts.
Receiving and giving gifts.
No, just receiving gifts. Acts of service is giving gifts.
No, well, sometimes gifts and service, like, they intermingle because sometimes a service is also a gift. I feel like it's my birthday when you do an act of service for me. But so, like, Evadine, she's a trinket girly. Like, she loves getting a gift.
She wants a gift.
She thinks a little prize is like, she loves it.
Words of affirmation and receiving gifts are her
now
jam.
They also like they love quality time. They have their little moments of like I want to be held still, so like their physical touch, and they'll be like, Mama, I hug you, and so like, but gifts she is a trinket girly. Don't know where she gets that from, and so any time it's you always joke that like Evadine's my favorite, but that's not the case. It's just easier to buy gifts for her because everything makes her light up. And so something that I love is making her light up. Like, of course I want her to like be so excited. And I got her little iPad, and Kayla, that's her other stepmom, Kayla had given her this little backpack of trinkets. And so I was looking at something on her tablet, and she made this little video, and she was like, this is my backpack, see friends? And in my little backpack, there's all these things, and Kayla bought it for me. And she was so proud of this gift that she was in there making her own little documentary, her own little podcast of the gifts that she had been given because she loved them so much.
Yeah, and I would say that Elijah is like, he likes to get things and he likes to get gifts, but I mean, that boy, you can give him his game and his tablet and he's set for life. Like, that's,
which is great. Like, those are gifts that we gave him, but I think his is really is like physical touch.
Yeah,
he's a touch. He wants to be touched and loved and patted and hugged. And actually it's really funny because even when he was a baby, he was like, we always said like that's gonna be his love language. He would wake up and he would like be his little gummy self, and he'd roll over and like wallow. I was making dinner the other night and you were at work, and I just felt these little hands come by me, and he had his arms wrapped around me while I was cooking dinner, and I was like, you okay, bud? He's like, I just want to hug. Just want to hug. He'll say that. I just want to hug. And so, yeah, he's always a touchy. Yeah. And he'll like just kind of grab your hand and sit with you. He just looks at you with his big old brown eyes, and he's like,
yeah, he wants to, and he's getting, it's a, obviously he's getting older, and so it's becoming a different kind of touch. Whereas I think at one point he wanted to be back in your body.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's just like, okay, I just want to touch you.
Yeah. And sometimes like if we'll be watching, we watch like our family movie time. I looked up at the TV, like down in the den, and we like it's our cozy TV space. And so sometimes we'll be watching a movie, and or Elijah will hear the pitter patter down the stairs, and then we'll be like, "What you doing, bud?" And he was like, "Just want a hug," and he would just like crawl in. It's funny now because he does it to you too. So I'm not always the first person that he wants a hug from. Sometimes it is you, and I know that like sometimes it's Kayla at Forest's house, and like and so he kind of rotates like he's like, wait a minute, I need a hug from somebody. And for a long time it was just me. And like the divorce was really hard because he wasn't as connected to Forrest, and like he wanted to be back in my body. And so it has been really cool to see him like grow up, and
now Forrest is like his person.
His dad's like his person. Yeah.
And I think it's a different love language even with his dad and you. Like I think he loves the physical touch from everyone, but he really loves quality time with Forrest because they share a lot of the same interests.
Yes, which I think is a really good point, that sometimes a love language romantically is not the same way that you receive love from somebody else. And so like my kids, like I want to any way they want to give me love, I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna love it. But like Maggie, like I want a very specific love language, acts of service and snacks. That's its own love language for me, snacks.
Savvy's love language is physical touch, as you can see,
and tripping me. And then like I'm trying to think of other important people in my life, and it's just you three I can think of.
Well, like Amanda.
I want like words of affirmation.
Yeah.
She's the one because her words match her actions. And so like when Amanda tells me that she's proud of me or I've done a good job, I'm like,
Amanda and Rob,
yes.
you love words of affirmation from them.
Yeah. And so speaking of those people, so how do you like when you give love, how do you think that what language are you like what's your give language, I guess, like your most
Yeah.
Is that good? Is that the way that I worded that?
Well, and I think that as I've gotten older, I've been able to recognize what other people's love languages are. But I think that it's so important to communicate that, even on a platonic level.
Some people don't like to be touched.
No, and I'm one of those people. And in fact, I am one of those people. Physical touch is not my love language. Now, I love when Sam scratches my back in our slumbies, and so as my back starts to itch, I think about Amanda and I'm like, we're not huggers. Like I don't know the last time
that was one of the weirdest things coming into y'all's family, because I was like, no one is hugging.
Yeah, my mom, like my dad, like
no one is having a 2-minute phone conversation and being like, okay, I love you, bye.
Yeah, we're not huggers.
We are, in all the craziness, you tell people you love them, and you hug them.
So Amanda and I are certainly, I would say, best friends, and our love language to each other, I think, is quality time. Like we love spending time together, whether we are on our morning walks or afternoon walks or going to the concert, going to see Mia. Like we love spending time together and just talking. And Amanda tells me I'm doing a good job, but I don't like need that from her.
Yeah. And
I don't think that she needs that from me, because we both know
y'all know
doing a great job. And like I said, we're not huggers. And so I think that Amanda and I do things for each other, but it just goes more now, and especially with her taking care of my grandpa and taking care of like a lot of the things after my grandma died, just lining a lot of like financial things out and issues out with that. And then like with me taking care of like mom and even helping her and she helping me, like we're doing those acts of service together, but it's just a moment where we look at each other and we're like, we're in this together. Like we're here together, and we know that we can always count on each other, and to be with each other, through really good times and through more challenging times as well. So I would say that I'm pretty good at acknowledging, like, and especially people that I'm closest with, knowing what their love languages are, and when they need. Like, I know when Amanda needs some time with me. Like, she'll call me and...
yes, I know when you need time with it. It's funny because I'll be like, y'all go for a walk soon? Maybe.
Yeah. She'll know when...
You need your other best friend.
She'll know when we need our Amanda Maggie time.
And... I'm sorry, were you done?
No. Yeah, go ahead.
So I love giving gifts. And, like, I love being practical. I want things to be, but I also love remembering small things about people. Like, my brain, if you told me in the 4th grade that your favorite color was purple, don't you ever change it because it's purple for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I have one friend, well, we haven't talked a long time, but, like, we still kind of, keep up with each other. Her birthday is September 8th, and it is September 8th, and every September 8th, I wake up and I'm like, it is birthday day for this friend, and I'm going to send them a card or, whatever, like, and so I love being, like, a no reason gift. Like,
yeah. Well, and you give such practical, and also she doesn't just, like, go to the store and buy something. Like, she'll make it. And I remember, I guess it was maybe after Christmas, or again, didn't even have to be Christmas, right before Christmas, you had given Rob something, and he made the comment, he was like, she is the most intentional gift giver, because she'll sit and watch somebody and know what their interests are, or hear that they want something.
Don't ever tell me you like something.
Yeah.
Because then that's all I know about you.
We hadn't been dating like a week, and I'm sitting at my house, and this delivery UPS or FedEx truck pulls in, and the guy has to get a dolly because the box is, well, I'm 5'4", so the box was taller than me, and it was wider than me, like, it was huge. So he has to get this box off the truck with this dolly.
There was no reason for that box to be that big.
It was huge, and so it had the
Lego castle,
thousands of pieces Harry Potter Lego castle in it, and I'm like, what the heck? But I had said maybe a few weeks ago, I was like, man, we were talking about Legos, and I was like, man, I really want to put the Lego castle together. It's so expensive. It's insane. Like, I just can't justify spending the money on it.
The Klarna or whatever.
And so
it wasn't that I had a whole lot of money. It was that I was sure I like made payments.
I never expected Sam to get that for me. And so when it showed up at my house, I was like, where did this come from? And I think
I was there.
Well, and no, you weren't there. But you had put a note, like Amazon had put a note in it or something. And, I was like, oh my gosh, like, how did she hear me? How did she read this, listen to this? Like, what the heck? Like, no one had ever really done that. And so I was like, just the intentionality in your gift giving too is incredible.
Thank you. But it really stems from, I have felt unloved in friendships, in different things. And so when I tuck someone, like, into my little, if I decide that I love you, I'm sorry, because I now love you for the rest of your life. And you have to deal with me and all of that. But what happened, like, that's like my mission in life is I never want anyone to know what it is like to feel like I did before. And so I'm very intentional.
Yeah.
It's very healing for me, actually. It's kind of selfish. Like, I love people, so that it, like, I love I love seeing people light up. I love seeing joy, happiness. If you're like, I always wanted an easy bake oven when I was a kid, like I'm gonna find you an easy bake oven. I never got to have a birthday party growing up. Like we're gonna have a birthday party. We're gonna have a party. And I think that it actually hits a lot of love languages all at once. Like it's practical, it's an act of service, it's a gift. It requires quality time for me to get to know you in that way. And then it's like words of affirmation of like, you are loved. You are so valuable that someone's paying attention to you.
Yeah. I have clients that come in with relationship issues, and one of my first encouragements is really look into what your love languages are and what your partners are, because yes, they can sound silly and we can, have fun with them all day long, but just the practical implementation that we have in our day-to-day lives with love languages is so impactful.
Yeah.
And I think that the light bulb goes off for people when we realize our love language isn't just words of affirmation. It isn't just quality time. It isn't just acts of service.
And sometimes it's the why.
Yes.
Why is it?
It's filling all of these buckets, or these buckets differently at times that we need them filled when we need them filled. Sometimes I still need people to tell me I'm doing a good job, especially if I'm a little insecure or I'm uncertain about something.
I will say, when you tell me, like, you're proud of me, when you tell me I'm doing a good job, I know the weight of that because
I say what I mean.
You say what you mean. And so, like, sometimes that's not our top for us, but, like, we're never going to stop. We're never going to stop doing that for each other. And talking about the practicality of, like, knowing your love languages. So, like, physical touch was not yours. And it's funny because now she'll, like, sit on me and, like, sit on me. And we need that. Like, and physical touch actually wasn't one of mine, but now it's funny because I'm like, I would like to be touching you. I want to be just in your skin. But on the opposite end of that, like what really can happen is, say your bottom is physical touch and a person that you could have been with, and I'm saying physical touch is at the top. And so if you do not like physical touch and that does not make you feel loved, and that's what this person needs, you're not going to feel loved. And so your love banks,
or you're not going to feel like, even in some instances, that you're filling the love bank for your partner.
Right. And so meeting in the middle, that's where those expectations are. Like, not making it like this is a business meeting and this is our time to touch. But that is sometimes, I think, where relationships fail, friendships, relationship, whatever the relationship is, because we give out love the way that we want it.
Yeah. Not how someone else
needs.
And
not how someone else needs it. And so all day long, it could be, and this is going back to my parents, like my mom never felt loved. And my dad was like, but I'm doing everything. I don't know what else to do to make you feel loved. She had to heal.
Yeah. And I think another big failure is the lack of communication with those love languages. That partner doesn't know that you need physical touch unless you tell them.
And you may not realize.
I need you to hold my hand.
Yeah.
Hey, I need you to do the laundry. Hey, I need the grass to be mowed. I need you to tell me that you love me. Until we communicate those, or even asking like, hey, what can I do for you right now? How can I help you right now?
Yeah. And sometimes not having a solution to a problem. I think we've talked about this before, but like, I love you and this is really hard, and or this situation really sucks. I'm here.
Yeah.
And whatever that looks like, I'm here. And that is like the moments that I have felt in the most chaotic times, the most loved by people. The people who are just like, hey,
I'm here with you.
I'm here. And so, yeah, just depending on a situation, it could totally flip what I need.
Definitely.
And obviously that's the same for everybody.
So know your love language. Know what your people's love languages are.
Love yourself.
Love yourself. Find ways to do acts of service for yourself. Get yourself gifts. Tell yourself that you're doing a great job. Give yourself a hug. You know, like do the love languages for yourself. Pat yourself on your own back. And so, yeah, you have to, the self-love piece of love languages is a beautiful thing. And then when you can share that with someone, I think is a really cool experience as well. So know your love language, know your people's.
We thought this
have
was
fun
going to be
with
shorter.
Yeah, we can always find something to say. But thank you guys for watching. I hope that you will like and subscribe and continue to hang out with us in the studio.
All the things. The den.
And just let us know if there's a topic that you're interested in hearing about. Give us some feedback. We love feedback. We love to be told we're doing a good job.
I need the opposite. I actually need to be told critical things to get better.
Yeah, you can give us some critiques. We'll take it. We'll
be a little kind.
Be kind and critical. So we're always open to new suggestions and, again, new topics that you guys might want to hear about. So just let us know. Remember, 2 queens, 1 conversation. We'll see you next time.